Hi everybody, it's Monday morning and I've got a really nice simple project for you, but before I do that I just want to show you some of the cards that I've been making lately. I just like to keep my cards nice and simple. As soon as I start getting complicated it all just starts to go wrong because I just overthink things. So I've just been keeping things nice and simple. So this one is using the Twinkle Twinkle cardstock, and I've also used the Triple Punch, which I haven't had for very long. It came out in the new catalogue, and it's great because it's got a corner rounder on there. It also can punch out just a small oval, and then this really pretty, let's put some light on actually, I should be able to see something. There we go. And it cuts out this really lovely decorative piece there. So on this bit, which is the coordinating cardstock that goes with the Twinkle Twinkle DSP, I've just rounded the corner off and then also put just a little bit of decoration on there. I've used the, let me show you what I've used on there. I've used the Beautiful You stamp set, one of my favourite stamp sets, to put that sentiment on there, and then just a couple of rhinestones, and just for a really nice simple card. This was on a sketch challenge. There's a group on Facebook called Stamping for All, and Karen McKellar had put on a challenge on there. She'd used Christmas paper, and I went for that. So it was just literally just some strips, great way of scrap busting, just some strips of 1/2 inch DSP that I had left over. Bit of a sentiment on there, stamped with Night of Navy ink, which this is the Tranquil Textures DSP, and I just cut up some bits of that. Maybe the daisy went a step too far, I don't know, but I was just having a play about with that and responding to that challenge. The Share What You Love DSP is my favourite, my absolute favourite, and I just, again, using up bits and pieces that I've had. I don't like to throw away anything, especially beautiful paper like that. Just two small pieces. I think they measured 4 inches by, I can't remember now, 4 inches square actually, I think they are. Used my 2 circle punches, and again used the Beautiful You stamp set, just to create a really simple card. And you can tell that the Share What You Love stamp DSP is my favourite. I've now got this one, and the thing is, this DSP is so decorative, you don't really need to do a lot with it, and it's a shame to put anything complicated on it because it just covers up this design. But what I did with this is that I just put the DSP on there, used the pretty label punch to put the sentiment and a couple of rhinestones. But I used Wink of Stella. Now, I don't know if you can see on there, I can't really see on camera, but I've used this just to highlight some of the petals, and on this green flower I've just put some Wink of Stella, and it's just, if you haven't seen it before, it's just a brush with some kind of sparkly gel in it. That's the only way I can describe it really, and you just paint it on, and that's what I did with that, and I think it just gives it a little bit of added interest. This is mint macaron cardstock with black behind it, and that comes in the coordinating cardstock with the DSP, and the, what's it called, rich raspberry ink, which then just picked up, they all match perfectly, just picked up the rich raspberry in there. And then finally, this is the one that I'm going to demo today. So again, using the Share What You Love, I really need to put that DSP down and start demonstrating something else, which I will do from today. It's a brand new week, it's a Monday, so I'll start showing some other DSP. But I've also used, this is what I'm going to show you today, just to show you don't need loads and loads of kit to be making some pretty cards. And that's the great thing about the Share What You Love DSP. So I'm going to show you that using the triple banner punch, also using the, put the stamp set down, here it is, using the perennial birthday stamp set, and still using Share What You Love, but a different design on it. And I've got Tranquil Tide ink pad, I've got an ink block, over to my right here, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to put that together. If you're looking for ideas and things on Pinterest, you see lots and lots of complicated designs, and I've wasted so much paper and cardstock because I've tried to copy somebody else to get some inspiration, and it just goes wrong and I end up just throwing it all away and getting really demoralized. Let me show you how you can do something really, really simple that is not complicated to do whatsoever. So I'll show you this. So what I've got, I'm a bit lazy and I buy my cards pre-cut, pre-folded. That's just my own personal choice. You don't have to do that. You could buy some Whisper White cardstock and chop them all up yourself and score them. I'm lazy and I just buy the cards like this. So I've just folded that there, and I'm going to do this card that way, so kind of portrait. So that's 5 by 7. That's an A5. It's not A5 at all. It's just 5 by 7. I've got 2 pieces of card here. I've got some basic black cardstock, and that measures 5 inches by 2 inches. And then I've got some mint macaron, and that measures 4 3/4 by 1.5 inches. All of the measurements will be on my blog. Don't worry about trying to write them all down. So I'm going to put that to one side. Then I've got some basic black cardstock. You don't need to use basic black. It's only because there's some black in this. So I'm just picking that up. You could use a mint macaron background. Really doesn't matter. You could do both. You could have black, mint macaron and this, or you could have that behind it, then the black, then that. Entirely up to you. And this is a way of making all of your cards original, in that you can, every single card you make can be completely different from the last one that you've made. They are original, they're unique, just by the way that you change the layering around. So I've got my card, I've got basic black, so this measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I'm going to stick that on there. And then this measures 4.5 by 6.5. So I'm just going to use some wet glue for this, which I have put down somewhere. There it is, messy desk. Actually, let's get something quicker. I do like to use wet glue because you can kind of wiggle it a bit to get it in place. Just reaching over to the other side of my craft room. And I've just got one of these. It's just quicker for demonstration purposes. While I'm putting all of these together, we have the new autumn winter catalogue coming out soon. Can you believe it? It's the middle of August, and in the autumn winter catalogue I've had a look at it because I'm a demonstrator. I get a sneaky peek at all of the new stuff that's coming out, and there are some beautiful products, absolutely beautiful. I don't normally get that fussed about Christmas things, to be honest, but there are some really lovely things, and I've bought a few of those and I'll be showing them to you quite soon. But this, could be a good time for you to think about joining Stampin' Up and becoming a demonstrator. And so, as I've said before, and you may not have heard this, is that for £99 you choose £130 worth of products. Just pay £99 and you become a demonstrator. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do YouTube videos and that you have to do demonstrations or classes or workshops. You can, just carry on, buy products. There are minimums that you have to keep, but just to think at the outset, £130 worth of stock for £99. You're getting £31 of product for nothing. And Stampin' Up always throw in some extra bits and pieces as well. So there are lots and lots of great benefits of becoming a Stampin' Up demonstrator. And if you want to know more about them, please just leave your contact details in the comments box, and I'll be happy to contact you about those. So there's the basic card with the black behind it and the Share What You Love DSP on the top. So what we'll do is we'll now deal with this bit. So you need your triple banner punch. We've got that there. And I'm going to take the black I can pick it up, I'm going to take the black and I'm just going to slot that in there like that. Punch, and we get that. Perfect. Obviously, you don't have to do that. You could measure the middle bit and you could snip in with a pair of scissors. You don't necessarily need that. And then I will get my mint macaron piece, which will fit in those grooves there. Punch. So what we get, and I'm just going to check that I'm happy with that alignment, what we get is that. And sometimes what I've done in the past is I've trimmed this even more. If I've not been quite happy with the size of it, I've trimmed it a little bit more. So that's going to fit on there like that. That's a little bit on the long side, so I need to trim that. So I'm going to trim each of these. I'll get my paper trimmer out, my favourite piece of kit. I'm going to get my paper trimmer out, and I just want to take, might actually be easier with scissors. I think I want to take 1/4 of an inch off of this. Need to work out what's going to happen here. 5.5. If we go to 5 1/4, we'll just nick a bit off the end. And I'm going to have to take a little bit more off there because the trimmer has just chewed that very slightly. There we are. We'll just test that, and we can take a little bit off the ends if we need to. So all I did, I just took 1/4 of an inch off of those. That I think is absolutely fine, but you can play about with it as to, you know, however you like. There, that's much better. Great. So the first thing I'm going to do is to get some adhesive on here. I'm just going to put that on the edge of the DSP, like that. Then, before I stick this on, I need to put some stamping on it. So, like I said, I was using the perennial birthday stamp set, and I want to use the birthday cheers all around. Put that on my block, like that. I get my Tranquil Tide ink, just ink up my stamp like that, and then line it up on here and stamp just with even pressure. There we are, perfect stamp. Just got to quickly clean that off. It's Tranquil Tide ink. I don't know why this particular one, I get it everywhere. So I need to clean my stamp before I do anything else. And then there's a little flower stamp in there as well. So I've taken that, load up the ink, and I'm going to put one there, and I'm going to put one there as well. Give that a quick clean before I end up with that all over my hands. Right, so what I'm going to do with this is slightly different. I'm not going to stick it in the way that I have the others, but before I do that, actually, I want to slightly distress the ends, or the edges rather. Can you see on this? You might not be able to see on there, but I've just, let me show you how I've done that. There's just a tiny layer of ink on that. Let me show you what I do with that. So what I do is I get my ink, and I've got a sponge dauber here. It's just on the end of my finger. Dab it in the ink, and I just don't know what that technique's called. It's probably some kind of technical word for that. I'm just brushing the ends, not the ends, the edges. And it just, I don't know, it just distresses it a bit, and I prefer this. You don't have to do this, but I just prefer to do it. It's a bit difficult getting it in that corner there. It just takes the sharpness off the edge of the paper. Finally, and again, you could just stick that on there with normal adhesive or with wet glue, entirely up to you. But actually what I want to do is raise this. So I'm using what are called dimensionals. And on the back of this, I'm just going to put on each corner one of these hexagonal dimensionals. And put them there like that. I'm just going to take the backing off of those. These little hexagons that come off the back, these are all over my house. Doesn't matter how many times I get the vacuum cleaner out, they are still all over the house. And then what you're going to do is just place that centrally like that. And what it does, because we're using these dimensionals, it just, I don't know if you can see that there, it just raises it and just gives it a little bit more, just more dimension and more texture. So that is how you make a really easy birthday card with just a few supplies. And if you had the DSP and some coordinating cardstock, you could actually make so many cards, absolutely loads of them, and it will end up paying for the materials themselves. Thank you ever so much for joining me. I'll leave a link to my blog in the description bar below, and I'll look forward to seeing you again. Thanks. Bye bye.